Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I welcome all of you. If it is your first time tuning in, welcome. And then if you're returning, you're a subscriber, thank you so much. And yeah, welcome to this installment. So please guys, before I get into today's topic and today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, to share, and to click the notification button just so you never miss any updates. So let's get into it. Today I want to speak about interviews. So what are the interview hacks? What are the interview tips? So yeah, I'm just going to be giving you guys some interview tips, especially for civil engineers, for South Africans, but it's not only limited to South Africans. So tip number one. Tip number one, obviously arrive early. So you need to arrive early to your interviews, whether it is a virtual interview or a face-to-face interview. You have to arrive early. Don't make them wait for you. It's better if you wait for them or if they find you there, if maybe it's a face-to-face interview. So number one, you need to arrive early. So tip number two, you need to familiarize yourself with your CV. So don't just write a CV 10 years ago and then you're still using that CV. You don't even know what you wrote there. So make sure that you familiarize yourself with your CV before you go on a job interview. So make sure you know everything that is on your CV. Like I said in tip number two, that you need to know your CV, but also don't forget. So this is tip number three. You need to know about the company. So you must know about the company. You can't just apply to a company. You don't know what they do. You don't know what projects they've done. You don't even know where their headquarters are. You don't even know if they are all over South Africa or if they're just in one province. So you need to know the company that you are interviewing for. So if it's a certain engineering company, so you need to familiarize yourself with the projects they've done. And you get this through their website. So you need to go to that company's website. You check their vision. You check, okay, their vision is this and this. This company promotes, quality work. They're all about health and safety. They're all about, being economical, acting in the best interest of their clients. So you need to look at the company's vision, where they are going, what their aims are, what their goals are, what, just their values, their core values. So you need to familiarize yourself with those values. And then you need to also familiarize yourself with the projects that company has been part of. And I don't mean, you need to start from 1980, when the company was invented, but just look at the main projects that fascinate you. Maybe you want to be part of, bridge structural engineering. Maybe you love bridges. So you'll just check the bridges that company has designed. And so now when you're in your HR interview and they ask you, why did you choose this company? Then that's where you bring their values in. Now you tell them, your values, blah, 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 blah. I relate to those values. I share the same sentiments. You tell them about their projects, the project you did in 2012, about a bridge, So you just basically you show them that you actually researched this company, you know them, you don't think they fell from the sky. So you show your knowledge of the company. So you tell them the reason you chose it is because of their values, is because of their projects. And you mention those projects, you mention those values, and you also relate them to how you also uphold the same values, how you loved that project, maybe because you did a similar project at school or something like that, or maybe somebody you knew worked in that project who inspired you, your mentor, or somebody that you look up to in the industry worked in that project. So stuff like that. So that can be part of the reason why you chose that specific company. So you need to also know the company. So you show up early, you know your CV, you know the company. And then number 4, especially in your HR interviews, when they ask you what are your weaknesses, yes, I know we can do all things through Christ. But yeah, you need to mention weaknesses. And when you mention weaknesses, Don't be vague. Don't mention things that you cannot change. So you're gonna give your weakness and how you are working towards it. So don't just say my weakness is time management. You can say that, but make sure you also speak about how you are working towards improving that weakness. I hope that makes sense. And never say you don't have a weakness. So yeah, so that's just an extra tip. And in most HR questions, they'll ask you, how do you deal with conflicts? What are your strengths? So in those interviews, since if maybe you're a graduate, maybe you're applying for a graduate program or internship, or you're just starting your career, obviously you can't reference projects. You can't say, once in my company, the boss and his boss were fighting, I was a middleman. So you can't really have those testimonies or those stories. So you can use your varsity experience. So you can speak about projects at varsity that you went through where you showed, leadership or conflict resolution, conflict resolution skills. You can use your varsity experience, what you did. There was a troublesome team member. I'm sure we've all been in those groups back at varsity where somebody will just, give you guys the work and go chill at home. You call the person, they don't answer. You do the whole project for them. So you can, you use that as reference. Obviously, you don't have project background. You don't have working background. So the background that you have is your school. So you reference schoolwork, varsity work in answering those questions for your HR interviews. And now going to psychometrics test interviews. So this is tip number 5. So tip number 4 is just the HR interview, typical questions, typical answers. So tip number 5, which is psychometrics test. How best you can prepare, you just go to Google, you just check several tests and you do them just to get familiar, just to know what you might be asked to do in a psychometrics test. For us, it was hard copy. They gave us hard copy books, different books. There was one for numerical knowledge. There was one for personality. There was one for, what was the other one? There was one for English. So yeah. So language. So yeah, had to fill them in with a pencil and then submit them later. So just familiarize yourself with what types of questions do they normally ask, just so you're not shocked. And then tip number 6, technical interviews. So technical interviews are very much technical. So if you are a graduate interviewing for internship or graduate program, you're going to need to familiarize yourself with, now you need to be familiar with your final year project or your thesis. So you need to make sure you familiarize yourself with that. For me, in my final year project, we had a thesis and we also had a design project. So you need to familiarize yourself with both, because they will ask you, what was your thesis about? What was your design project about? And the people interviewing you, in this case, most of the time, it's people in that field that you're applying for. So since it's civil engineering, you're going to have civil engineers interviewing you. So they just basically testing to see if you have the knowledge, if you are smart enough to be part of their team next year or next month, depending on when the job is starting. They're just testing to see if you will fit perfectly in their team of civil engineers. So they're going to ask you civil engineering related questions. And, depending on the company, sometimes it might be all engineers. So you might have a structural, a water engineer, roads engineer. So you're going to have different disciplines. And then they might ask you, which discipline do you like and why? So you need to give evidence. Why do you like that discipline? And then they might ask you, what do you think we do? What do you think, if maybe you're applying for a structural engineer, they're going to ask you, what do you think structural engineers do? What do you know about this field? So you need to familiarize yourself, study, what do transport engineers do? What do traffic engineers do? So you need to familiarize yourself with that. And yeah, if it's a transportation engineer, then you need to make sure you know what they do, traffic studies, they do feasibility studies, they design roads, so just familiarize yourself with that. Know the softwares that they use. They'll ask you that. And then they'll ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time if we were to employ you? So never say you'll be their boss, number one. Don't say that. So just, speak about how you're willing to develop, you're a quick learner, you just want to learn and also pass down the knowledge to future graduates, along those lines. So yeah. And then in technical interviews, they might even ask you if you are willing to relocate. If you know engineering, you know that there is traveling involved, and a lot of traveling involved. So they might ask you, are you willing to relocate? They can say relocate the province or relocate the country. So guys, if you're not willing, don't say you are willing, because they will relocate you. So if you're not willing, say no, you're not willing, and provide reasons. If you are, say yes, you are. Yeah. So yeah, guys, so those are just general tips. I think there were 7 tips. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was informative, and I hope you gained something from this. You won't be like me, you won't be like myself, because I remember when I went to my interviews, I was not sure, am I gonna be on 3 interviews, 1 or 2? Which one is this? Is it, although they did tell me that it was a HR interview, I just didn't really know what exactly is a HR interview. What are they going to ask me? So yeah, guys, there are different interviews, and every one of them is different. There are different expectations in each and every one of them. They are looking at different things, different part of you in each and every interview. So I hope you gained something. And if you would like me to do, I don't know, a video about how to answer some of the interview questions, please feel free to drop a comment and tell me that, okay, please do tips on how to ace, I don't know, a technical interview, similar stuff. So whatever you want me to go more into detail about, you can just put it in the comment section, because this video was just more of, overview of general tips that I would give somebody who was going on an interview and who is a software engineer. So yeah, guys, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, press the notification button, just so you never miss a thing. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.